The way that Patanjali describes tapas in the Yoga Sutras, he uses the word purification. And it's so perfect because what Patanjali means by purifying ourselves in the fire is we are erasing our habit patterns, the way that we always do things, the loops, the same day over and over and over. We are purifying ourselves.
Welcome to the world of energy, where science meets spirit. Ancient wisdom merges with cutting-edge knowledge, and the possibilities for a healthier, happier you are endless.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Energy Works. This is Blaine, and I have a solo episode today. This episode is about tapas, not the delicious Spanish small plates of food, but tapas, spelled the same way, T-A-P-A-S, as a Yoga Sutra. It's one of the Niyamas. So in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, thousands of years old, it's one of the oldest texts that tell us what yoga is. We have these personal practices called Niyamas, and one of them is called tapas. The reason why I'm excited to talk about this today, really why it dropped in as a topic that I want to talk to you about, is because I just had this experience. Many of you know that I am a runner and a triathlete. Triathlon means swim, bike, and run. And let me say I'm an ex-triathlete. I've spent many, many years doing triathlon, swim, bike, and run. But I did decide at one point, I don't even know really, I mean, maybe during the pandemic, that maybe around 2020, that I just don't want to swim anymore. And so I haven't been swimming in a long time, and I actually haven't raced a true triathlon in, I don't know, maybe since before the pandemic. But there is another sport called duathlon, which is run, bike, run. And I have had some fun doing duathlons. So there's a duathlon that happens in early June in Boulder, Colorado. And I registered to do it last year. And I ended up having a little injury and decided not to do it just about the week before. I decided it was best that I not do that race because I didn't want to prolong the injury, not energy. Prolonging the energy is good. I did not want to prolong the injury. So I withdrew my name from the duathlon and I did not participate. At the time that I did this, it was, like I said, about a week before the duathlon, I reached out to the race director and said, hey, I have an injury. I can't do this. Can I defer my entry for 1 year? And he said, yes, but you need to come and volunteer in order to do that at no cost. And so I did. Last year, I volunteered at that race, and it was super fun to be a volunteer. And then this year, the race was just about a week ago. And so I had this intention to do this race up until about, I don't know when, maybe March of this year. And I was coming back to Colorado from Florida. We have many projects going on at Energy Medicine Yoga. I am taking a greater and greater role at Energy Medicine Yoga with more responsibilities. And I just didn't have time to do the biking. I can always do running, unless I'm injured. Running doesn't take too much time and energy for me. But biking is a whole other thing. It takes a lot more time. You have to have your bike, all of this. And so I decided probably in March or April, I'm just not going to do the duathlon. I had been struggling with this decision. Do I just not do it? But I didn't want to not do it. And it was taking so much of my mind space. I was like, just pull off the Band-Aid, Blaine, make the decision, don't do it. Then you will not be carrying the stress and guilt of not biking. So I made the decision not to do it. And this race was, I guess it was last weekend. It was, I would say about a week ago. And so the week before the race, they didn't know I wasn't doing it. I was just going to not show up because I've already deferred it once. They're not going to let me defer it again. So I'm getting the emails from the race director with the athlete guide and all of the information about the race. And I'm just deleting the emails. Burke and I went on one bike ride. I'm deleting the emails. And then suddenly, 2 days before the race, I thought, what if I just do it? What if I just show up and do it? And I sat and meditated with this, and I decided to follow through and do it because of tapas. The translation is heat or burning. It is also translated as discipline. Tapas is having the discipline to get uncomfortable. And as I was meditating on this decision, knowing this race would be incredibly uncomfortable for me because I have to run really fast, then I have to go bike 25 miles when I haven't biked at all in a really long time, except for one time. And then I have to get off the bike and start running again. When you train for that, it's still not super pleasant, but it's a lot more pleasant when you've trained yourself for it than when you haven't. And so I thought to myself, Blaine, why don't you just get uncomfortable? What happens if you get uncomfortable, right? You evolve. And as I was meditating on this decision, I remembered back when I owned my own yoga studio, I wrote a 3-email series that was very well received on tapas. And the whole gist of this 3-email series was that putting yourself in a situation where you get uncomfortable, you feel the burn, you feel the heat, you feel the friction of doing something that makes you uncomfortable is where you grow and evolve. And at that time in my life, I was very steeped in making myself uncomfortable. I love coffee. And I would, about every 90 days, just say to myself, I'm not having coffee for 1 week. And the only reason why I would do it was to make myself uncomfortable. So every single morning for that week, I would feel the burn. I would feel the discomfort of not having coffee and just having something else to drink instead. And that's just one example. I would say consciously went through a phase that I was intentionally putting myself in uncomfortable things because it's how I would grow. It's how I would evolve. It's how my consciousness expands. And since then, I've gotten away from that a little bit. Yes, in my role, I sometimes, even just recording a podcast feels a little bit uncomfortable, or getting up on stage and talking to a room full of strangers, right, feels uncomfortable. But discomfort, it's discomfort that I'm used to. And that's the thing with tapas, is intentionally putting yourself in the fire, because most of us just move through our lives trying to be comfortable and avoiding discomfort. If that's discomfort, we don't do it. If it's comfort, we do it. And I think as we age, we lean more and more to the comfortable, and we shirk away more and more from the discomfort. We have an online community called EM Yoga Stars, and we asked a community question recently that was, I can't remember it exactly, but something along the lines of what do other people do that you wish you could do? Or what is something that you wish you could do that you want to try, but you've never tried? Something like that. And the responses were great. And it was all people sharing things that maybe they were afraid to try or had resistance to trying or had an excuse for themselves on why they couldn't try it. But often we are avoiding discomfort. And so actually, let me before I continue, let me tell you what happened. I went back to my deleted email box and I undeleted all of the emails about the duathlon, the run, bike, run. And I said, I'm just going to do it. I intentionally did it to seek discomfort. And first you run. So I went out and did a 3.1 mile run, a 5K. And then I hopped on the bike and I did a 40K bike, which is about 25 miles, which was a lot. And I really, really wanted to get off the bike by the time that 25 miles was over. And then I had to run 6.2 miles. I had to run a 10K off the bike. When I got off the bike and started running, yes, I was incredibly uncomfortable. My body did not want to run. It wanted to curl up in a little ball on the ground. But the joy in my heart was enormous that I was out there. I was with other people in this race. I was in a community and I was running along a beautiful lake and it was a beautiful day outside. And mostly that I had said yes. I had taken my no and I had turned it into a yes. And the last 5 miles of that run, it was like I was running on air. I had so much joy in my heart, and I was so happy that I pushed myself into discomfort so that I could feel this joy. I'm still a little bit riding high on this experience. And it happened because of tapas, because I decided to put myself in the fire and feel discomfort. The way that Patanjali describes tapas in the Yoga Sutras, he uses the word purification. And it's so perfect because what Patanjali means by purifying ourselves in the fire is we are erasing our habit patterns, the way that we always do things, the loops, the same day over and over and over. We are purifying ourselves. We are burning them away. The old ways of living, we get rid of them. We burn them off, tapas, so that we can grow and evolve. In the spiritual teachings, we are here to evolve. It is our human legacy. It's our human inheritance. The planet is growing and evolving. Consciousness is growing and evolving. If we do not participate in growth and evolution, A, we're a cog in the wheel. And B, we don't get, it's like the joy I had at the run. It's growth and evolution are joyful. Coming out of the fire on the other side and you did it. It's joyful. What's hard is making the decision to get uncomfortable. Because who wants to get uncomfortable? But the tapas is transformation. I'm leading a 200-hour yoga teacher training right now, and we are discussing the Niyamas, among many other things. And I use the example of a loaf of bread. Before the loaf of bread goes into the fire, it's this cold, doughy, blah-colored, like no one wants to eat it, gross, mush thing. And then you bake it, and you have this glorious loaf of delicious, warm, homemade bread. For the dough to turn into the bread, it has to go through the fire. Fire is transformation. So my invitation, maybe my challenge for all of you who are watching and listening is to put yourself in the fire. Again, the word discipline is always very linked when you talk about tapas, because growth, evolution, creating new habits all require discipline. When I exercise in the morning, that takes discipline. And it's hard until it's not, because once it becomes a habit, then it's not hard anymore. And so the efforting is having the discipline to put yourself in the fire, put yourself in the fire, put yourself in the fire. And then that's not fire anymore because you've done it so many times. It's become painless. And then you do it again. So I invite each of you to maybe think about, is there something you've been wanting to do that you've been avoiding, either because you think you don't have the discipline, or it will be too uncomfortable, or you have some kind of resistance that's making you want to stay exactly who you are instead of growing and evolving. Again, I mentioned as we age. I know some people who are older than me. I'll say probably most of them are men. I can't say that they all are, but I don't know. I'm very pro-woman, so maybe that's just my point of view. Have decided they're just fine the way they are, and they're just going to coast for the rest of their life. They're just going to coast exactly how they are for the rest of their life. To me, I feel like that's just waiting to die. I'm just going to be like this, and I'm just waiting to die. The fire, the passion, the discipline, the growth, the evolution, we can do it until the day we die. And the spiritual teachings say that it's our human imperative that we do. So once again, I'll leave you with that question. Is there anything you've been avoiding? Will you accept my challenge to take it on, put yourself in the fire? If you have any thoughts, let me know. If you would like to share in the comments, I am cheering for you. And I will see you next time on Energy Works. Alrighty, Energy fans, that's a wrap on another positively charged episode of Energy Works. Lauren, this is the part where we get to use our energy puns.
It's been electrifying, hasn't it, Blaine? We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're feeling amped up and you want to keep your energy flowing, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform.
And we'd love to hear from you, so please take a moment to leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates, so light up our inbox.
And spark a conversation with your friends to tell them about us. And we'll see you next time on Energy Works.